I've been talked to over the last couple months on many occasions with people just living and feeling with a whole bunch of uncertainty based on what is happening in our world today. They're living in this very difficult place. According to the American Psychological Association's Stress in America report, around 70% of adults say the future of the nation is a significant source of stress. And roughly 60 to 65% cite uncertainty about the economy, violence, or political climate as major sources of anxiety. And then just completed in 2025, the World Uncertainty Index, or the WUI, the US WUI spiked to 0.9, nearly tripling from 0.33. So this marks the highest level since the index's inception, reflecting a sharp rise in economic and policy unpredictability. And because of that, a lot of people are feeling extra stress and anxiety. It's affecting mental health. It's really becoming a very negative force in their life. And so I want to speak to it. So let me begin by giving you 8 areas where people can experience uncertainty. And you can check off which ones of these apply to you. So the first one would be uncertainty in the area of your career or your job. So you're not knowing if you're going to get a job, keep a job, or whether your career is going to grow, level off. That can create a lot of uncertainty. Secondly, finances. Worries about money, your investments, your debts. Are you still going to have a job? Are you still going to have a paycheck? Are you still going to have your pension? All kinds of different uncertainties that can happen around finances. Thirdly, relationships. So you think of friendships and family bonds or romantic relationships. They can go through times of uncertainty where things are unpredictable. So you can be entering a relationship and you're dating and you're not sure. You're uncertain. Is this going to work out? Is this the right person? That can be very stressful. You can be in an existing committed relationship, but all of a sudden there's issues and ongoing tensions that are characterizing that relationship. And that creates a real time of uncertainty where it's unknown about where this relationship's going to go. So you're going to end up in divorce, separation. And then you can go through it with your kids, where your kids start making some decisions as they get older that you aren't very happy with, and you're beginning to get nervous about, is my child going down the wrong road? What's going to happen to my child? What's going to happen to my relationship with my child? Those are all relationship times, and they're very stressful. Then your health. You can have an illness or an injury, or you can be waiting for a medical test because you just feel something's a little bit off. All of those create uncertainty. So you could know you're sick, but they can't diagnose it. You could have a chronic illness. You could have a chronic mental health problem, or you could have a loved one that's got any of those issues, or you're just aging and your health is gradually starting to fail. All of that creates uncertainty. You're in the unknown. The fifth area is future plans, big life decisions that you're facing. So should we move? Should we go back to school? Should we start a business? Should we get married? Should we have kids? Should I set a boundary with my family because they're so toxic? Should I begin therapy? All of those are like major life decisions. And there's a lot of unknowns there. There's a lot of uncertainty there. In 2022, a study by the American College Health Association said 87% of college students said that uncertainty about the future caused them moderate to high stress, and the stress related to uncertainty was cited as the number one barrier to academic success. So many people in college, university today feel so uncertain about career, where to go, all of those things. It's very stressful. The sixth thing is world events. Wars, pandemics, political shifts, natural disasters can create a very uncertain world, and that is very stressful. And then personal growth. You can get to times in your life where you just feel uncertain about how you're doing, whether you're making progress, about your abilities. You start to second guess yourself. You second guess some of your goals. You even second guess your identity. And that's a very uncertain time. Who am I? What am I good at? I don't know for sure. And then you can feel very alone at times and unloved. And that really messes up your identity and creates a lot of uncertainty. And then the final one for some is spiritual upheaval. So you've based so much of your life on certain faiths and beliefs, trusting a higher power to be there for you. Then you're in a situation where those beliefs don't seem to add up with what's going on. Your higher power doesn't seem to be there for you. And you go through a deep spiritual crisis where you're just not sure what to believe anymore. So I don't know how you did, but those 8 areas, to me, for some, you might have most of those 8 as true in your life right now. And that explains why you're feeling such a angst, an anxiety, a stress, a depression, struggling, feeling overwhelmed, lots of fear. So let me just develop this a little bit farther for you. Because to me, there's really 3 pieces to this uncertainty or sitting in the unknown. So number 1 is the fear of the unknown. So when we encounter an unknown situation and we don't know what to expect, we don't know kind of what's expected of us for sure, it increases our chances of failure, especially if we don't feel we have a lot of tools. And so that's why we fear the unknown, is because there's a greater chance of failure and of getting hurt. But then the second piece to this is this uncertainty and this unknown is not immediately resolvable. It's not dependent on us to resolve. It's often dependent on other circumstances outside of our control. So there's no crystal ball that's going to give us magic information that's going to immediately make this unknown into a known. That's not going to happen. We're going to have to sit in this unknown for a while. We don't like that. And so that leads to the third thing, which is we have to wait. Wait indefinitely. See, we don't mind the unknown if we only have to sit in it for a day or 2, and then it's going to be resolved. Okay, that's fine. I can do that. But what happens if we sit in it for a day or 2 and there's no solution? And then we sit in it for a week and then a month, and it's still not resolved. Now we're waiting indefinitely. And so there's fear of failure and getting hurt. There's not a quick resolvable solution, and then having to wait indefinitely. I find it interesting that the research shows that certain people react differently to uncertainty than other people. And to put it simply, is people from kind of healthy backgrounds with healthy tools respond to uncertainty differently than people from complex trauma. And people from complex trauma, uncertainty or being in the unknown has a very negative effect on them. They are prone to go to a low mood, to be negative, to get down, to have anxiety and stress. And so complex trauma sets up a person to not be able to deal well with uncertainty, and the unknown is the bottom line.